Our next talk is from Kilian Demuth about support personas. Kilian.
Thank you very much. So welcome to my talk about support personas, a new concept for tailored support of users of privacy-enhancing technologies. So with current privacy-enhancing technologies, we often have the problem that we have different users that use the same technology. And this could lead to problems like the following, that some users may not understand the information they are given because the target group of the privacy enhancing technology is an expert group, but also lay users may want to use it. And this could lead to the fact that they don't know what to do, how to use the technology. It could also be that the information they are given is too complicated. Also, they might understand the language, they don't get the concept of the technology, and therefore can't use the technology. And all this can lead to an I don't care for the users. They just don't use the technology anymore because it's too complicated and they don't understand how to use it. On the other hand, we might also have users that ask for more information about a technology and really want to dive deep into it and get to know how does the technology work, or might even want to customize it to their personal user experience. And to address all those different user groups, we developed the concept of support personas. So, as you might know, a persona is an archetypical user with different behavior, motivation, and goals. And with our support personas, we try to identify the needs of different user groups to address their needs when developing new privacy-enhancing technologies. And we base those support personas on the privacy competence and the privacy concern of the user in order to be able to customize the user interface and give the user only the information they understand based on their privacy competence, and also suggest appropriate default settings, because some users with a higher privacy concern might accept an additional overhead when using different technologies in order to protect their privacy more, and users with a lower privacy concern might or don't want additional overhead and want the privacy enhanced technology to work in the background and don't interrupt their workflow. So our methodology was a three-step approach. We started with workshops as a participatory design approach. Then build a prototype to be able to assess the support personas in the first development process, and finally evaluate how this worked out and whether we could address the different user groups with our new concept. So the workshops, we conducted 3 workshops with 5 participants each. Having different backgrounds, or different technological backgrounds, so that we can address the different user groups or different groups of end users. And the first goal of our workshops was to create a categorization of users into different support personas. So based on the literature, as already said, we wanted to base the support personas on the privacy competence and the privacy concern. But the fine categorization we wanted to do in a participatory design approach to be able to get the input from the end users to be able to get the result that they are all represented by the final categorization, because that might be a problem if only we as experts might do this categorization. And the second goal of the workshops was, after this categorization was established, we wanted to create the different user interfaces for one privacy enhancing technology. In our case, a browser plugin for the topic of script tracking, to make script tracking more transparent to the user. That was our first, that should be the first application for our personas, where we test the approach in the development process. So the results of the workshops were the following. The participants of the workshops developed 3 categories for each dimension: privacy competence and privacy concern. And in the second step, said that the user interface of the browser add-on should be solely based on the privacy competence to be able to address, as already said, for example, lay users with more explanations and less details, but also serve experts users with very detailed detailed information and also a variety of settings. And they also said that the default settings of the browser add-ons should be based on the privacy concern, as already explained by me. Yeah, so then we built the prototype, and here you see the first user interface for these lay users, where the website the user browses is gets just a privacy score based on the script usage on this website, and the user gets some explanations on what scripts are, for example, how the score is calculated, and only has one setting for disabling this browser add-on in the case the website might break or might not work, so that they can turn off the browser add-on to be able to visit this website. In the more advanced user interface, we call it extended user interface. You see we have a little bit less explanations, but a little bit more settings. And the final or third user interface for expert users provides very detailed overview over the different scripts used on a website and the possibility to block all the individual scripts. But although the users will start only with the user interface based on their privacy competence, we also provided the option to switch between the user interfaces in case a user might want to try another user interface or might want more information for in a specific case. So we also evaluated our browser plugin, and with this together also our concept of support personas, and to find out whether we could address all the different user groups as we might or as we hoped. And our results were the following. So most users preferred the extended user interface. That was the one in the middle. That was expected because most of the users are close to the average user for which this extended user interface was developed. But we also found out that most experts prefer the same user interface in everyday life, but don't want to miss the detailed user interface in case they want to really dive into one website, get to know what scripts are used on a website. But for everyday life, they want the more simpler user interface. And we also found out that the users which liked the detailed user interface the most were mostly experts, except for one case, which also shows that the detailed user interface, as expected or as hoped by us, is mostly adopted by expert users. Very interesting to see for us was that we saw a learning effect for lay users. Though the lay users started with the standard user interface with many explanations and less settings, and after reading all the explanations, getting to know the tool a little bit more, trying it out, they progressed to the extended user interface to get a little bit more settings and didn't need the explanations they read at the beginning. And we could also verify this learning effect during our qualitative interviews, where we could verify that the users learned something they did not knew before. And the user experience questionnaire also attested a good to excellent usability for our for our application, which shows that with the support personas during a development or in a development process, we were able to develop a application with a good to excellent usability for all users, and it also shows that our results were not influenced by bad usability. Finally, we developed some recommendations for developers on first. so we saw that the needs of different support personas should be addressed by developers of privacy-enhancing technologies to make it easier for all the different users to use the privacy-enhancing technology, and not only for expert users, but get a more broader audience for all the technology we develop. We also found out that the different user interfaces should be based on the privacy competence, but the default values of the technologies should be set according to the privacy concern of the user. And we also saw very positive results that after we involved the users in the development process, which could also be helpful for other developers when developing privacy-enhancing technologies to get the second view of the end user. And for end users, we encourage them to inform themselves about privacy topics. They should be aware that data about them is often distributed to third parties, and therefore they should really think about which data is shared with whom. But this is only possible if we have the privacy-enhancing technologies that make it easy for users to use them and the users understand them. And thank you very much for the attention.
Oh, so many questions. Who should I go to first?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Now, what you described, I think, is more or less just the human-centered design process. And I was wondering, to what extent do you think the super personas would change the process we already know? What kind of overhead does it create? Or is it just personas, and now we call it super personas, more or less?
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your question. I think the support personas will help the developers to really think about, to have these different personas in mind when developing privacy or privacy-enhancing technologies. Although the ideal HCI process of developing technologies, really has the different end users in mind, but I think the support personas enforce this thought process to not only develop technology for the developers themselves, but also for other users they might not think about.
Thanks for the talk. So when you introduced the support personas, my first thought was that these would be qualitatively different, as in different user goals would lead to different UIs. But from what you introduced, they seem to be mostly quantitative in how much detail was shown. So did you consider a qualitative thing, or is that not something you would actually see in user demands? Or
so for the different user interfaces, for example, the explanations for the lay users, we try to keep them as mentioned in the first talk. We try to use more easy language, really explain the topics on a low level, which might also abstract the more complicated things. And I think the qualitative difference between the user interface was also thought about during the development process, but did not transfer during the presentation.
Okay, sure.
Do we have a question online?
Yes, there is an online question.
Okay. We are listening.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear. I'm assuming he raised his hand on the thing, so I've just unmuted him to let him talk, but I don't hear anything. Yeah,
Can you please speak up?
I don't know. Maybe not.
last quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the number of participants in the workshop.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the sampling bias from that, or how to improve it, or the scope of improvements there?
Yeah. So although we try to have participants with different technological backgrounds, we had the limitation that most of the participants were students from the university, so had a higher education, although they had different study backgrounds. So some came from sociological studies and might better represent this lay user without a background in technology, in IT security or privacy. But that's a limitation we had. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe